Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. It's Bridget Cisco. I'm here today with Christine and Steve Duffley, and we're going to be talking a little bit about this new and upcoming book, Creating a Life of Abundance. So, welcome, Christine. Welcome, Steve. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hey, Bridget, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah,
We
great.
had a long day, and that's typical in this house, but we're good. Thank you. We really appreciate your time.
Of course. Of course. Well, Christine, why don't we start with you? If you can just tell us a little bit more about who you guys are as a couple.
Sure. Well, which is really exciting. The time of this recording, we just celebrated 35 years of marriage. And we look back at that and we went, wow, like what we've done in 35 years and how we began together. And a lot of our focus was based on our life in Christ, which everyone has a different beginning. And we had all these people at our wedding, and we had the cheapest buffet line you could ever have, and just really focusing on what does God have in store for us and using our gifts and our talents. And at that time, I was employed as a radio station manager. And Steve was already an entrepreneur. He was doing construction with his dad, and I eventually quit my job and joined him, and that began my real estate journey. And we were just, I don't know, one day at a time. And we happened to hit an economy that crashed and gave us an ability to begin our real estate journey.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I'm curious, as we go into the next question about your business and what you guys are up to, how your background, Steve, as in construction, and your background, Christine, as a radio manager, support the work that you're doing now. So, Steve, let's give it over to you to share a little bit more about your business.
Sure. I've been a general contractor. I started out building houses right out of college, painting, then construction, and then right now we kind of morphed into doing masonry restoration work because it's pretty lucrative. So, but I've always had a love for doing things right and fine home building and understanding how housing goes together ever since I was a young kid. I was always running around with a hammer and a screwdriver and a pocket full of nails, building something. So whether a fort or whatever. So I enjoy the part of our life now where we take short-term rentals and we turn them into kind of a luxury short-term rentals.
Spaces, yeah.
Spaces, yeah.
Amazing spaces, things that we could have never imagined 35 years ago.
Or imagine owning.
Yeah.
On the ocean. And
yeah, have a beach house. That's pretty wild. I'm still pinching myself. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about some of your properties that you have.
I would just love to tell you about our beach house in Gulf Shores. And that just came about from, so we started as landlords, and we have 19 tenants right now, but one time we were doing around 40. And so and there's a lot of things in between the lines, and we're not going to get into that right now. But what we decided to do was take our buildings and exchange them for something else. And we thought, well, we're heading into retirement. What should we do? And I always wanted to be warm. And so we decided to start in Florida. And then we realized when we joined another group of investors, like, wow, we can make more money in Gulf Shores. And all of a sudden we were owning a beach house. And that's what the book's about. How did we get there? And we got there by curiosity, by working very hard our whole life, having a great credit score, and just working hard, and Steve doing. And so being so multifaceted, I say he's a maintenance construction guru. And then my talents of my degrees in social work and just working with the people and just wanting more. And it has been really exciting. It's been exciting for our kids, who we have 5 children. And it's been exciting for our marriage that we can go down to Florida or Gulf Shores and enjoy taking care of our homes. It really has been an amazing journey, not without mistakes, but it's been amazing.
What is it like to not only be in partnership and marriage together, but also in business together?
That's a good question. It's like stump the
chump.
It's not always easy. I mean, Steve and I mean, we love to just do the work. Looking at financials are not our strong point, but our CPA and our bookkeeper are good mentors in that. And I think that's probably our weakest link, is really watching the money and wanting to spend more on these properties, but knowing, gosh, you have to stick within a certain budget. So we're all about the people. Our tenants, we would never have our tenants in a place that we wouldn't live ourselves. And our guests, they spend a lot of money to come to our properties. And we want to make sure that they're getting that value, that we deliver on the promise. So being in business is not easy because we've had to evict people. We've had to pull socks out of toilets with really like doo-doo in it, So we could tell you lots of stories, but I think it's our attitude of adventure and then just understanding where we're weak. We find people who are strong.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that leads me into talking a little bit more about your chapter. And if you could share a little bit about what you wrote about and some of the major lessons or themes that you shared within the chapter.
Sure. We wrote about our journey in real estate and basically how our real estate has been able to help us do other things. So it's given us freedom to go on mission trips, to be at our kids' ball games or different things at school where most parents couldn't show up. We could just stop in the middle of the day and go. So we talk about that type of freedom of time. And then also we talk about, struggles that we had when, we almost lost everything. So we went through some tough times where everything just seemed to go wrong. So, but we stayed faithful. Our community supported us through those hard times, and we came out on the other end, and was stronger for it.
Yeah, and our children, how we express in the book how our children felt about our journey and how we adopted our youngest son. And you'll have to read the book to find out more.
I like that. Yeah, that's a perfect plug for the book, which is, by the way, coming out on October 4th. So let's shift into just some of your bigger goals as a couple. Where do you see yourselves going in a couple of years? What are some of your big dreams?
I'll start off just by saying we're training our son Luke to kind of take over or manage. I don't think we'll ever step away. Steve, you say that?
I always say that, yeah.
Never retire.
I'll never retire. I'll die with my boots on. I'll always have something.
And I'll always have my fingers in things too. We love what we do, and so we'll always be involved, but we're teaching our son how to do the day-to-day so that we can do more volunteering. Faith, family, and mission. We want to do more missions. Because there are a lot of people in the world that our skills are very valuable and we've experienced beautiful things in our lives, and we want to share that hope, and it is part of our faith journey. And so by letting go and letting our 22, well now almost 23-year-old son, by the time that October 4th comes, our son will be 23, and letting go of that and allowing him to take over. So to release that. And then the other thing we're doing is we're planning to put a pool in. Things that we've let go because we put other things first, really working on our own home, which Steve built. And we're really looking forward to that and having maybe grandchildren. It's really a different focus. It's kind of like we're on the landing strip of life, but everything goes. I mean, we don't limit ourselves, but we are more cautious where we're looking at legacy, and anything can happen. I mean, when you're older, so you're more intentional about what are you leaving behind and how are you operating.
Yeah, absolutely. So beautiful to hear what you guys are thinking of doing in the future and just the legacy that you're really building and what you're leaving for your family. It's really beautiful. So as this book gets ready to come out to the world on October 4th, who do you really hope that this book reaches?
Well, we hope that the book will reach people that are trying to decide if they want to go into real estate. And so it's for the beginner. It's not for the seasoned professional. We're not going to give all these tips and hacks that are going to make you the greatest short-term rental or real estate guru. When you're deciding if you want to go into real estate, if you want to own a vacation home that may be able to pay for itself, there's different ways of looking at that. This is a great place to start. Our story and the other stories in the book can give you 4 different perspectives on how they started in real estate, and I think you could make a pretty good decision after reading this book if it's for you or not.
Right, and just what's the real deal? Because a lot of people are trying to sell you the quick and easy, and so if you're interested in real estate, you have to realize that when we invested in our first building, one of our first buildings at $55,000, and it now became 1.4, 1.5, it's a investment vehicle. Mm-hmm. Is that for you? So we're encountering other couples around our age retirement, they're looking for something to do, really a variety, and the very young. What if they did this, if they paid for their vacation home? Gosh, I wish that light bulb had gone off for us, but I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forwards. And so I think if you're serious and you are in the beginning levels, we've enjoyed, I mean, we just talked to our friends and we saw there's a need for the book. And there's a need for our stories, to encourage you to make a decision. And either way, so if you read our story and you go like, or the other stories, you go like, I don't want to deal with this. Then that's good, because we've prevented you from making a decision that actually might be very difficult for your marriage. Or it can set you on a great conversation, and it might not be right away. It could be years away. And I just think these stories are really relevant to where couples are looking to make decisions in real estate and what it can do for you.
Yeah, plus we've had at least a dozen couples come up to us and ask us, can you meet with us for a couple of hours and talk about what you're doing and give us pointers? And we've helped people get up and get running and get started that were other couples. So just in the last 2 years, there's been a lot of interest in short-term rentals.
Yeah, and there's a lot of resources between the 4 couples too. We don't do it the same way. Yeah. And we want you to find your way. And we're big about why. You know, we know our why. What is your why?
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I think that this book is a very relatable resource for anyone who is thinking of this. And I think that the stories provide a wide array of possibilities and potentials and challenges and wins and everything in between, which is the realistic perspective that I know as a reader I appreciate. So thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your journey and really the values that you're instilling with the company that you are both creating and leading. So thank you both so much for being here. Let's end today with, where can people find out more about your business?
Well, we've got several websites. We've actually coined strcouple.com, but our probably easiest way to get a hold of us is duffley.com, duffley.com. And then our website for our properties is called simplyrelaxstays.com.
Beautiful.
And just Google our names and you'd be amazed what you might find. I'm gonna leave you hanging.
Love it. Well, thank you both so much for being here. So grateful to know you. And thank you to everyone who is going to be watching this interview and reading this book. Make sure to grab your copy on October 4th. We cannot wait to hear your feedback. Thank you both so much for being here.
Okay, take care.